please.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I'm Dana Dubois.
I'm Lawrence Winterman.
I'm Ellie Leonard.
Oh my
Woohoo! Ellie
gosh, we are.
Leonard. It's the
It's
Daily
Christmas
Whatever show, but
Eve.
it's also sort of a BAM reunion kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just the
Ellie,
three
it
of
was
us.
your Liberation Day yesterday.
It was my liberation day yesterday. We had a half day. So I worked in a public school and it's a good job. Like I don't want to like denigrate the job, but like it's so nice to go back home and work and write full time and like fully devote myself. It's amazing. It's amazing to see what you can get done when you have like a chunk of hours that are not spread around putting your kids to bed and getting up for the school bus and like which I'll still have to do, but you know what I mean. Like I
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, where you can do that and then go focus on your own thing. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful because the world needs you. The world needs your voice and your research.
Thank you.
I would not know like a fraction as much about what's going on with the Epstein stuff if it weren't for you and your reporting. And
Thank you.
so I know many, many thousands, tens of thousands of people feel the same way.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
thank you. I wish I didn't know as much about the Epstein file. Well, I wish, let's put it this way. I wish there wasn't as much to know
Yeah.
about the Epstein files. But before, like a year ago when I was sort of writing into the void and trying to figure out what my writing was supposed to do and thinking about if I was going to go back to work, I was really like hungry for doing something that was purposeful, like not just clocking in somewhere, but like it served a purpose. And I was reaching out to like to different local politicians, and I was reaching out to like our local immigration nonprofits, because we have a lot of immigrants in our community, and just like the things that were being hurt by the Trump administration, like where could I do something where I could kind of work, but I was also physically or mentally or something like helping towards something, like further something and to do something more. And I think for whatever reason the universe landed me here, and it feels like I'm doing that. It feels like I'm writing for a reason. It serves a purpose. I'm not somebody who's like just like an excited armchair detective where I just love this story. It has nothing to do with this. Like I probably wouldn't, other than like the purpose behind the story, I wouldn't be really delving into it if I wasn't writing about it, if I wasn't like speaking with survivors, if it wasn't doing something. And now it feels like my light tiny little cog in the machine is working toward consequence and change in policy and a world potentially where billionaires can be reprimanded the same way as the rest of us for doing horrible horrible deeds, and thus our kids are better protected. So like it feels really good to be writing about this stuff. I hope it has an end. I hope it's finite. But I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah. I and everything that you just said, it's all true, right? Like you do
Hmm.
have a purpose, and this is really truly moving the needle and making a difference. And I think part of the reason you're so successful, in my opinion, is because you are bringing so much heart and compassion to it. I personally have seen the way that you honor and respect and protect the people that you're talking to. And I think the people who read you know that and they feel that.
Yeah.
And that is it doesn't feel transactional. It feels like it's beyond old fashioned reporting, old
Right.
fashioned investigation.
Yeah.
It's about protecting the people at the core of the story.
And I think part of it's the way you're built is how you sort of present yourself to the world. So I was like the kid, I had my group of friends, whatever, in high school, but I was somehow the person, for better or for worse, who people brought their shit to. Like, and it
Right,
was just like,
right.
I need to talk to you about this really, really hard thing. And I had, people whose parents had affairs. I had people who were coming out of the closet, but weren't ready to talk to their parents. I had, people who wanted to talk about, that they'd been sexually abused and they never told anybody. Like, for whatever reason, people in my life and in my network and my small town would come to me and say, like, can I sit down and talk to you? And so I I took that on as like, well, that's a pretty powerful responsibility. If people see you as someone that they can share their secrets with in a safe way, how, you listen to them and what they want from that. Like, you don't go around and start talking about it if that's not what they want, but like, how can I honor them and protect them in a way that they need? What are they asking from me? And sometimes, it's bigger than what I can do, and I have to protect myself a little bit. Sometimes I've had people, I was in that world of like early 2000s Facebook network marketing, as we all were, because we were broke and selling candles and body wraps or whatever, and people, when you do that, people like land in your DMs with worst case scenarios and all day, all night conversations. And so you do have to kind of set boundaries for yourself. But for the most part, people aren't like that. For the most part, people, if they come to you and they say, I just need to talk to you, it's pretty easy to honor them and ask what they want from that. Do you want me to talk about it? Or do you want me to like just keep it between us? And I think for the Epstein stuff, it's been a lot of, when people come to me, it's, I want you to honor this. I want you to, bless you.
Thank you.
I want you.
Excuse
You just
me, sneezing on the
Gesundheit.
truth.
but like, how do we honor you? But then how do we like go get the bad guys? Which is kind of a fun, that's a little fun extra. So that's what we've been doing. And I don't feel like it's just me alone doing it. I feel like whenever I get out and write something or say something, it's kind of like a little team of people behind me and we're all working together. So I try, as long as they're willing to come forward, I try to include them and honor them and say their names and, talk about ways to encourage and help them as well.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm realizing we jumped in so fast because we're so excited you're here, Ellie. So we haven't said a formal hi everyone. Ellie Leonard is here. Would you like to do a very quick introduction? I think most people here know who you are.
Sure.
And then I have been so eager to talk to you because at this stage, when I hear Epstein files, I think Ellie Leonard. I'm like, I need someone to help parse this. And
Sure.
Go ahead with your intro, and then
okay, sure.
Let's get into it.
All right. Okay, I'm Ellie Leonard. I am on Substack as the Panicked writer. I was the Panicked Unpaid writer. You guys all changed that for me, which is very wonderful and lovely. And now I'm going to write full time. And then you can find me everywhere else as Red Pencil Script on most social media platforms, because that is my side hustle business. I do transcripts for films and journalism and all sorts of stuff.
I love it. I have to tell you that Lawrence will know this group. I'm part of a Facebook group that someone I went to high school with, who it happens to be an immigration attorney, founded years and years ago, called Will of the People. It's a small private group. I don't even know if I should say their name out loud, but it's for a bunch of, very like-minded liberal folks.
Yes.
And someone in reference to the Epstein files was like, I can't believe how few people are talking about this in the media.
Right.
And I was a little surprised because I don't watch much mainstream media, so I don't know how much coverage it's getting, but it was with great pride that I was like, all the real journalists are on Substack.
Yes, everybody's moved. Everybody's slid on over.
Yep.
You've got to, if you want to hear about what's actually happening. And I'm actually, we haven't really announced this much, but we now stream live on Facebook, like 4 people maybe are listening to us over there.
Yeah,
but I'm going to share and multitask and share this to my feed at least. And I think I'll make it public to say that we're here. So people know as we jump in, because I want to hear more about your process and kind of how you got there, of when there's a giant dump, like there was over these last few days, a couple of giant dumps, how do you tackle it? Like, what do you do to really make sense of all the information so that you can share it with all of us? And while you're talking, I'm going to share this publicly over here.
Okay, so my process is I let everybody freak out about it for a few hours and share the juicy bits and panic and share and woo, do their summaries. Yesterday I had the files. I did very quickly back them up. That was the first thing I do, is if I have the capability and the space to back up anything that they're doing, obviously back it up right away, because they start to delete it, as we saw with the Trump pictures in the last files. So a lot of us were sort of working behind the scenes to find the best ways to back things up, because I actually knew about this dump 24 hours before, because the DOJ is just a bunch of clowns. So you can go in and you can find the last dump, and then it'll say like transparency data set number 7, and you just go up in the address bar and change it to number 8, and it will find the next set of files, which
No,
they haven't made.
seriously?
Yeah, you just type it into. So my guess is 9 will pop up soon. So just keep trying that. So they existed before they were dropped, and so we were all kind of downloading them at that point. And then I was struggling to get like 3 different sets of files downloaded. They weren't working. And so like a lot of us were putting our heads together about the best extraction services to do that. So there was a lot of that. But like yesterday was my son's birthday, and it was the last day of school, and it was the last day of my work. And I just was like intentionally ignoring everything and just letting people do their freak out as they will, and then they'll kind of calm down. And we went out to dinner, and we do everything locally because we have a little tiny like clown car, and our family doesn't all fit in it, so someone always has to walk everywhere. So it was my turn to walk. We'll fix that eventually. So it was my turn to walk. So my husband drove the kids to the restaurant, and then I met them there. And then we just had cake and presents. So we just had a lovely evening, and I just absolutely ignored the files until everybody went to bed. And then I started to kind of slowly filter through, which is what I do. I go very slowly, and I read everything. I don't speed read it. I don't summarize it with AI. Like I look at every page and I scan it to see, those little tiny bits that people miss, because every set that I've gotten, there's been something that was just like a wow moment that nobody talked about because they didn't see it, because they just went through it so fast. The beginning of it is it's very interesting. It's a lot of the FBI chatter before they arrested Jeffrey Epstein, a lot of the covert emails where they were gathering information, which he knew he was under surveillance, but like obviously it wasn't public. So it's a lot of them like gathering. It's really funny when they discovered, there's like the email of when they discovered the sweetheart deal in 2008 and how he got off so easy, like them reading that for the first time being like, what the fuck, what is this? And like you kind of get to see their thought process through that. And then it's a lot of legal emails back and forth about when we're going to meet, when is the proffer going to be, which is like, the proffer is like those discussions that Ghislaine Maxwell had with Todd Blanche. That's a proffer. It's sort of like a deposition, but it's different for legal reasons.
Right.
So it's a lot
like what they're going to offer in exchange for, right? Like if we're going to give you clemency, I'm going to tell you this information, sort of thing.
Yes. So they're, it's them dabbling around, deciding who's going to be what, whose lawyer. There is a lot of redactions, but like they'll redact the name, but then underneath the name they'll have their position and at what law firm. So all you have to do is like go look up the law firm and see who's in that position, and then who's redacted. I've seen with the Krasensteins, everybody was telling me like to go use their method. I haven't seen that work. I've tried it. Every time I see a redaction, I try to highlight it, but like the FBI very often changes their PDFs to photos to like JPEGs, and so you can do the searchable text to highlight it, but it won't let you paste in anywhere. So I haven't seen that yet. I don't know that it doesn't exist, but like I haven't made that work yet. And so I've just been scanning through. I've been paying attention to some of these things that are popping up that I haven't gotten to, but I've been watching people's Substacks, and I think the big thing that came out yesterday was the Larry Nassar letter. That was huge. And so and then the FBI saying like, I realize we're releasing all these files, but it's a bunch of bullshit, so don't pay attention to them. And it's like, really FBI, like you kept all these files and wouldn't let us see them for 5-6 years because they're not real. Like, why wouldn't you go through and delete them if they were not real? Right. The Larry Nassar thing is really easy to vet, and CNN actually did a good job. But like, I also like, because people go, oh, it went through Virginia. Well, Virginia is where the FBI offices are, and so this letter did go through Virginia because before they were allowing it to go off to, Larry Nassar, they had to vet this letter because he was under FBI surveillance. But he sent it to the wrong prison. Like Larry Nassar was in Arizona the year prior, but he wasn't at the time that that Epstein sent the letter. He'd actually been moved to the East Coast, but he had been there. I mean, he did his homework a little bit, but it was really, really easy to figure out if this was a fake letter or not, because you look at the date and it arrived on August 13th, which was 3 days after Epstein died, and which was a Tuesday. And then you look at how long it takes a letter to travel from Manhattan to Tucson, Arizona, first class mail, that they wouldn't be doing like overnighting for him from the prison. And you just look at how many business days, 3 to 5 business days, what day he would have had to send that. It would have been like on the 8th at the earliest. It could have been on like the 6th. So if he didn't send it, then somebody would have had to know he was going to die, because he clearly indicates in the letter that he's going to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people go, oh, then that was so-and-so. They knew he was going to die because they were going to kill him. I think it just indicates that it was him who sent the letter. He knew he was going to kill himself. He had enough time to send it. It got off to Arizona. And so if somebody faked that letter, they would just be somebody else who knew he was going to commit suicide, which is a very, which is nobody.
Right.
And then people also go, oh, well, that's not his signature. He wasn't signing it. He wasn't like signing it with his signature. He was signing it with his name because he was writing to Larry Nassar, and it was one more, person he wanted to add to his list of people that he knew, and he wanted him to know that it was Jeffrey Epstein. He wanted him to know who he was. So he wasn't going to sign his messy signature.
Right.
He was going to write his name so he knew who was sending the letter. So this very clearly indicates to me that it was sent by Jeffrey Epstein. The dates line up that it would have had to been Jeffrey Epstein. There's no way that it's fake, because the timing, like nobody else was sitting in their home going, oh, I'm going to write a fake letter about Jeffrey Epstein about to kill himself. Wouldn't have happened. And then, like I said, CNN actually did a really good job vetting the letter as well, and like where it would have had to have gone, like the path that the mail would have had to have gone. And there's just no way for people to have known ahead of time the things that are written in that letter. Unless there was a massive cover up, but I don't honestly believe there was a massive cover up, because what you also read in these early files is that Epstein tried the same method of suicide on just shortly after he was arrested. He tried it and he got caught, and it was the same thing. It was the bed sheet hanging off the side of his bed. He wrapped it around it was the same method exactly, and they caught him. And he was like passed out, and they took him to the hospital. And then he was cognizant, and he was able to talk about it afterwards. So it's like, it was, to me, that indicates, intent, that he was trying to do that. He's talked about multiple times, even in interviews, I think with Bannon, about how when you're in a jail cell for a certain period of time, you go crazy and you want to kill yourself. Like there's just a lot of clues for me. I've never been one who believed that he was murdered in jail, but also one more aspect of that is it's likely Donald Trump who got him arrested in the first place, at least the first time around. So the likelihood of him like trying to off him for talking would be very strange, because he's the one who put him there in the first place. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
What I really appreciate about you, Ellie, is that you're following your logic, right? And you're not coming in with a preconception necessarily. Like there's so many people, I think, who want to go to the conspiracy theory first. And I appreciate that you're
more
like
exciting.
Yeah, but you're like, you know what, actually, like the simplest explanation is that he actually killed himself, and he knew he was depressed, he knew he was going to kill himself. And the dates line up and the math works. So I really appreciate that about your reporting.
Again, that's just my opinion. That's based on the multiple different angles of evidence leading up to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. That's just what I surmise from it. But then there's that idea, and something we all need to remember in every bit of this and every bit of the Trump stuff is like the hoofbeats are not always zebras. Sometimes they're just horses.
Right.
And to just pay attention, because I know that and I said this the other day, there's some really great pictures floating around the internet from these files, but like do a Google image search. Just double check them, because if they feel too good to be true, if it's Trump and Clinton being massaged side by side, by a 12-year-old girl, do a Google image search. Like, just double check, because if they feel too good to be true, they probably are.
Yeah.
And there was one that was really, like, people really thought it was real, and it was Trump with a little blonde girl, and her face is redacted, and it's on an airplane. And that one has gone everywhere.
Right.
And I just remember looking at it going, like, that really looks like his face in that one horrible painting that's in the Colorado State House that he had removed because he really hated the painting. Like, I was like, that face really looks like that painting. And so I did a Google image search, and then even the Google image search was like, yeah, sure, it's probably real. And then I did like a deeper AI vetting of the internet, and they're like, no, there's no way this is real. This is not connected to anything. This doesn't have a source. And so likely that photo is not real, because his face is off. It's not, something's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie, I was going to ask for those out there who haven't done Google image searches before,
Yes.
what are you looking for to validate something's real? And I'll put the follow-on question of, with the rise of AI and how things circulate,
Right.
Do you feel like your method is foolproof for the future proof?
So, okay, yes. And I'm not a huge fan of AI. My method for using AI is, if I really, really can't find something, I'll use AI to search for it. But then I back up the thing that they say by looking for the thing that they say to see if it exists on the internet outside of AI. I try not to use it if I don't have to use it. And just like at a basic level, if you've never done a Google image search, the easiest way, if you're online and you see a picture, you right click it and it will say search with Google Lens. And what it will do is it basically takes that photo and it searches the whole internet for that photo. And then what it will do is it will tell you if that photo has a concrete source, like where did it come from? Is it from a newspaper? Is it from the Epstein files? Is it from somebody who posted it on Facebook who knows a guy, or is it likely digitally created? And there are markers that AI can figure out if a photo has been digitally created. So it's not foolproof, but it is a really, really helpful resource. Because I'm really careful about like forwarding things along, because I come from a long line of people who forward everything along. And so I try not to do that. I try to really double check the things before I repost them. And I don't always get it right. There's sometimes something slips through and people call me out on it. And then I go, oh, you're right. I'm going to delete that.
Right. Hey, Lawrence, I sent in the chat though, so people are being so active, which is, hi everyone, that's awesome. We are loving all of your comments. I also texted it to you, the link to Ellie's note that's showing the letter. Are you able to show it on screen so we can look at it while we're talking about it here?
Yeah, let me grab it and then I'll share it on screen.
Okay, because I'm reading it again now, and first of all, it's gross. I mean, what it says in here.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Here's my weird gut read that is not based in reality at all. Of like, I haven't done the research you've done. If it is if I were to be a skeptic about this, if it were a suicide note, it's a suicide note that's ratting out Donald Trump. I mean, this is a very explicit condemnation of him.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me that a suicide note would say, we share our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'll reach their full potential. Like, first of all, like, every part of my guts just churned at that. It's so gross.
Right.
And then he goes on to say, our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls.
Right.
And how he loved to, I believe this says grab snatch.
Yeah.
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 Can you, I'm sharing, but I can't tell if can everyone see it?
Yeah, I see it.
I see it.
Thank you. In my phone preview, we're now like itty bitty Lawrence. Look at you over there. But like, do you have, I realize that this is a feel statement, not a think statement, but does this strike you as odd from everything else you've read? If this is indeed a suicide postcard?
No.
A suicide note?
No, it doesn't. I don't think he ever, I mean, when he knew something was a public document or going to a lawyer or going to the FBI, he would deny that that anybody was underage. But I don't think he ever, in private conversations, denied it. And I think he I don't think he thought there was anything wrong with it. I think he thought he was like a connoisseur or an artist, and it was like an artistic thing to like these young girls. Like
Ugh.
he was a very strange individual who turned everything to being very like philosophical and very academic, and he thought that he was this like wise philosopher. And I think he thought of himself as kind of historical and like, this is how it used to be. These men would be surrounded by all these young girls. I don't think he really had a problem with it. And like when his buddies would like log in and talk to him, it was a joke. They would joke about it. Like nobody was denying it. Everybody just thought it was funny. So that doesn't surprise me, because I don't think he was he wasn't religious. So he didn't think that he was like making a claim for like going to heaven. I don't think he cared what he said on the way out. But this is also kind of his MO, is he just wanted to be cool in front of people who were of means. And so Larry Nassar is a horrible person, but he was very popular and in the news, and like, so for him to be like, maybe we can be friends because like, we're both being harmed by the system, but he also is about to die, so he doesn't really care.
Do you
The
think
Trump
he knew
part
Larry
of it,
Nassar up to this point, or he was
no,
trying? He was just like you
I
said
think he was
earlier, like trying to
bored
add
in
one
jail.
more famous
Yeah.
person to his list, right?
Right. I think he was just adding. There's no indication that so far that he'd been talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Larry Nassar, prior to him going to jail, wouldn't have been famous enough for Epstein to want to hang out with him. It's only because he went to jail. Yeah, my guess is, I would have to look at the dates. My guess is there was probably a lot of Larry Nassar things going on just prior to this, and Epstein was bored and watching TV in jail and sending out letters, and we may see more letters like this to other people that have been, hurt by the system. But I also think with the Trump stuff, that lines up. That totally lines up for me, because he was obsessed with Trump in a way that he hated him. I think there was jealousy. They all thought that Trump was an idiot. All the people working around Trump thought he was an idiot. They all thought he was just like, he had no idea what he was doing. They couldn't believe he was president. They just all hated him, like this entire group of people talking to each other. But he right. But he became very obsessed with hating him, and like there was jealousy there. Like Trump won everything, I lost everything. And so he would continue to drop little hints in his correspondence, and I always wondered why they weren't bigger hints, but I don't know if he was, prior to being arrested, if he was worried about retaliation. I don't know. But he definitely dropped these kind of hints all the way through his correspondence with Bannon and Larry Summers and these different people, that Trump was there the whole time and Trump liked all the same things. And so this doesn't surprise me, and it lines up with the other things he said that he didn't know were going to be made public, which makes them more credible to me. So this letter just fit for me. It fit like all the other emails and correspondence he had with the closest people in his life, which would have been Steve Bannon, potentially Jez Staley, who was VP of JP Morgan. I could have that wrong, but yeah, I immediately knew that this letter was a real letter because it reads exactly like he writes.
Oh, yeah. You're like an expert on his tone by now.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, sorry to interrupt you, Lawrence. I was just going to say, I'm talking with someone about posting a letter that I found in the previous drop. There was a letter stapled to a wall that the FBI took a picture of it. It's just a handwritten letter, and nobody really paid attention to it. And I was like, I'm going to zoom in and clean that up and just see what it says. And it isn't signed by Jeffrey Epstein, but I knew it was written by him because it had all the markers of his emails where he does like random double commas for no reason and just weird punctuation. I was like, oh, this is written by him, obviously. And what he says in it is like highly illegal. Like he's pretending to be a lawyer. And Ooh. It was just stapled to his wall. And so I'm like figuring out how I want to deal with this letter. But like, that's the thing is when you go through and you read this guy's correspondence over and over and over again, you start to pick up on markers. And so later on, when you don't know if something was written by him or not, I can usually look at it and be like, oh yeah, that was written by him, because it has all the markers of his same spelling errors and the way he writes and his tone and the words that he uses over and over and over again. And I can go, oh yeah, that's Jeffrey Epstein, which is kind of fun.
Wow, you're like this is weirdly reminding
Epstein
me of the
whisperer.
movie Being John Malkovich. Do you remember that movie when they could go through the tunnel and then they enter John Malkovich's brain and you get to see the world as John Malkovich? You're like at least linguistically being Jeffrey Epstein. You're like, yeah, that's how he is. There's a question. I think it was by Stacy. The chat's going by so quickly I can't quite grab it, but she's asking if all mail was screened by the prison, wouldn't this have alerted them that he was a suicide risk? So they would have taken the bed sheet out. What do you think about that?
I mean, all mail, I'm sure, was being surveilled. I don't know how much mail he was sending, but he was an FBI case, so I'm sure they were very vigilant on that level, at least. And I was reading through, so part of this beginning of the first part of the files is the court case of the 2 prison guards who were on duty when Epstein died. And it's a woman and a man, and they were, and it's kind of funny to listen to, because you're just like, oh, I get you people, I understand you people, like you're every person at a job you hate that doesn't do it to its, you know, you have the original like manual about everything you're supposed to do on the job, and then you like get like a year in, you're just like, okay, well,
Right.
We're going to do our best. The boss isn't here. And, you know, normally that works out. It didn't work out because someone died on their watch and they were slacking on the job. They were scrolling their phones. So like he was supposed to be under suicide watch. They gave him the cell block that was closest to like the desk where they were stationed. He was supposed to have a cellie, you know, like a bunkmate. But he had that person had just been switched. A cellie. I know. I've watched what is that show where 60 Days In, where they have to like live in a prison for 60 days? I watched that a lot.
I have not seen that, but I do like Cellie. It's so cute.
but so like they had switched out his bunkmate and they hadn't given him a new one yet. And the guy who was there was one guy they interviewed. I thought it was funny. They interviewed one of the prisoners who potentially could have been someone who hurt him. And his statement was so eloquent. I was like, guys, lawyers gotta be smart. Like, don't make such an eloquent statement for like a prisoner who might, you know what I mean? Like, it was clearly the lawyer speaking. Like, it was beautiful. It was like Shakespeare. And I was like, I don't talk like that. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't talk like that. But probably wasn't him. Like, he probably not involved. But he was supposed to be under all these watches, and they were supposed to check him every 15 minutes, which is something that Ghislaine Maxwell actually mentioned. They literally come in and they do a check on her every 15 minutes. Why she's always like, I've lost my short-term memory because I don't get to sleep anymore. I have to be up every 15 minutes and da da da. But they were supposed to be doing that is torture.
She deserves it, but
it's right.
Yeah. Am I sympathetic? But no.
But I believe they were supposed to be checking on him every 20 minutes. And they were marking that they checked him and they didn't actually check him. So, I mean, all the stuff coming out of the prison from him would have been absolutely, you know, scanned. They would be checking everything because they knew the sex trafficking side, but they also knew the financial stuff. And so they knew that you can still be in control of, you can be a kingpin from prison, right? But what they thought was happening in the prison as far as his protections and surveillance or whatever wasn't actually happening. But in the book where they checked the box, it said that it was. And so that came down to, you know, poorly paid people who were on a 16-hour shift, apparently. I know. So, which is probably a bad idea.
Lisa in the chat says, it's not a fucking hotel.
No.
No, it's not. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking about being woken up every 15 minutes. And it's reminding me, this is a slight tangent, but I have a feeling that you watched this, Ellie, the CCOT episode of 60 Minutes.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't watched it yet. I'm saving it for Christmas break.
Yeah, you should watch it. I would recommend if it's still up, and I think it is. Julie Roginski and Michelle
Yeah.
Kinney on Mayday
Hmm.
did commentary before and after, so it's a longer broadcast. It's so good, and part of what they do at CCOT is the lights never go out. In addition to being sardined in and tortured and beaten and sodomized and all of these crazy things,
Yeah.
they will not let them sleep. They keep the lights
Right.
on all the time, and I didn't know that that's like a
Yeah.
international war crimes violation or something. I can't remember what they call it. That
Yeah.
might have been what they
I know.
call it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
not breaking news, breaking programming news, I guess. BAM, this afternoon, we're going to rebroadcast it as well.
Okay.
Oh,
So
great.
Cliff and me, or maybe just me, I've got the setup on my desk where we're legally allowed to rebroadcast it in a particular way that doesn't violate copyright and then allows it to be reposted on YouTube. And so we're doing that
Oh,
this afternoon because it's such an important piece of journalism that everybody really, really needs to see it. And it is getting pulled down off of YouTube if people repost it. So, for example, I tried to repost it on YouTube last night with kind of a BAM wrapper around it, and it would not let me post it because it apparently does violate copyright. But this is a way that we can do it so that it will be postable and available to people. So stay
I
tuned.
want to hear more about how you did that, but that's amazing. About what time do you think that's going up, Lawrence?
I think so. We're going to do it live, probably around 2 p.m., kind of the usual
Yes.
time that
Okay.
that Cliff and David usually do amped up. So yeah.
Okay. And Kat, the video that Lawrence is talking about is the 60 Minutes segment that got pulled about CCOT. And BAM, just so everyone knows, is Blue Amp Media. So that's where that will be. Yeah, I love that. I'm curious how it's okay, what the method is that made it okay to post. But my theory, and I don't know if this
It's
is
literally
true.
just recording with a different camera screen that is showing it.
Oh, okay, got it. So it's a recording of a recording. Got it.
And and stopping it a couple times and commenting on it so that it's a commentary on a piece of news as
Oh,
opposed
it's
to
not
just the
so smart. Okay.
See, I
But
don't know
you
how
still
to do
get the
any
whole
of this.
story. And
and
it was like a
thanks to Julie
10.
Roginski and Michelle Kinney for kind of figuring that out and modeling how to
Yes.
do it. So
Yeah,
thanks to them.
that's amazing. And I think it's only like a 10 or 12-minute segment. Everybody should see it. My hypothesis is that far more people will see this than 60 Minutes refused to
Oh,
air it
for sure.
than
For
they
sure.
would have if it had. We talked about this earlier this week, Lawrence, where it's so comforting and like inspiring to see real journalists again on
Right.
like I mean, I grew up watching 60 Minutes like a lot of us did. I haven't watched it in years, but it was like, oh my, I wish I kept watching it because it's that just it's a horror. I mean, like it couldn't be a
Right.
worse horror. It is a concentration camp, full stop. They are torturing these men for no reason. And this reporting makes it very clear that all of those things are true, but it's just so objective and quiet in the way that it's reported, not sensationalized at all. Like everyone should see it.
Mhm.
It's extraordinary work about the horrors that our country is perpetrating by sending sending these men for no reason in almost every case to El Salvador to a concentration camp. I want to get back to the Epstein files, but yeah, talking about the waking up every 15 minutes and that being torture just reminded me of that lights on.
Right.
And it's such a reminder of like, for all of our differences and all of the craziness in the world, we're all humans who need sleep.
Right.
And no one should be,
Yeah.
no matter how horrible they are.
Well,
That.
and
Right.
weird
Yeah.
empathy, right? Like you can
Mhm.
really empathize with that, and also
Mhm.
for the guards, like your job is 16 hours a day. You every 15 minutes you have to go walk past this dude's cell. Like fuck, man, I would find a way to
Yeah.
skip a couple of those and nap at
Yeah.
my desk too.
Right. I'm sure that part of them was just like, no one gives a fuck.
I know. I really didn't feel like I didn't feel like, oh man, those losers. They did such a bad job. I just thought, we've all done that. I used to work at Whole Foods. We didn't like clean up the way we were supposed to clean up and check the, you know,
Right.
like everybody's been there. Everybody's had that job where they didn't do every single thing they were supposed to do during their shift.
Right.
But you know, for us, for the rest of us, nobody died. But yeah, I felt bad for them that they had to go through like they had to go on probation and like full
Oh
court case. And
man.
I felt bad because it's just like, man, that could have been any one of us, except we didn't work in prison. But
Right.
Absolutely. All right, Ellie, after the letter, because this
Mhm.
letter's gotten a lot of attention, what else do we need to know from this? What
So
have we found?
there is something that has popped up for me now in two different places. Now, I take things with a grain of salt. People have reached out to me and told me some very wild stories that would be great if they were true, because they would just convict everybody and this would be over. But again, it's like if something sounds too good to be true, it's probably not true.
Hmm.
But I have started to hear details in these files where I will hear the same thing a couple of different times, years apart, different people who wouldn't have known each other. And so you have to be like, well, how could they be saying the same thing and there's literally no connection? And one of those things is, and I posted this last night, is in the emails between Larry Summers and Jeffrey Epstein. He talks about how you can neglect a baby so much that it dies. But if you touch a few girls, or I don't know what his wording was, you know, if you neglect a baby so much that it dies and can't get it into Harvard, something like that, nobody cares. But if you you know, like young girls, or I don't know what he said, but then it's the end of the world. And I was just like, that's weird. And they'd been talking about Trump, and I was like, neglect a baby until it dies. Like, what is that?
Hmm.
What?
Um,
Yeah.
and then something popped up in yesterday. Somebody was, and it's not something that I've gotten to yet, but it's like a redacted letter that was popping up from these files that people had found that was talking about like a baby that got neglected and died. And Trump was around, and it was like a grandchild or something, and was buried.
What?
And it was like a completely separate time. It was before these things happened. And I was just like, why would they be saying the same thing? Like, what? And I don't know if it's a true thing, but it's like, it's very odd. So that's something I'm going to pay attention to. Is there's something about a baby dying and being buried and like nobody knowing about it? Like, and I don't know if it's like a devious thing or if it was a natural thing or what, but like it's been mentioned twice
Right.
by wildly different people, and I don't know what that is. So that's something I'm paying attention to, because it both involve Trump, and I
Right.
don't know what.
Well, and we kind of know from like all of our experience with Trump at this point that every sort of accusation is kind of an admission when it comes to him, right? That
Yeah.
like if he's talking about something, neglecting a baby and then it dies and getting in trouble for it, it's kind of like,
Right.
Is that you, bro? Like, did
Right.
you do that? Because that everything
Yeah, it's just, there's just very, very strange thing. And the thing with Donald Trump, which is such a bummer, is the guy did not email. Like, he doesn't email. And so we don't have that like
Mm.
thread
but
from him.
that totally doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me. He seems like the kind of guy who'd be like, I can't figure this out. You know, you do it.
Yeah, he's
Right.
always been your grandpa every day.
There were
beginning
always
of
those
time.
rumors. There were always those rumors that his literacy is super low, and I don't know if that he
Yeah.
like doesn't read. I don't know if it's true or not, but
He
can we just
just-
make it? Can we just make it that rumor up? He's illiterate. That's why he doesn't email. He doesn't know how to spell.
He's just like a person who's just like a dunce. So he can
Yeah.
read, but he just reads nothing. He doesn't read the newspaper.
Right.
He doesn't
Except
read
a
books.
teleprompter.
Casey says he
If
eats
that.
paper. He eats paper.
Right.
He's probably, that would not surprise me. And then
Right.
and then something to remember about like all this stuff with his, you know, people talk about dementia, and I posted this earlier, is his father died with Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he was older, you know, he was older than Donald Trump, but he died with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is hereditary. Donald Trump's health has always been much worse than his father. He's been, you know, more, I don't know if you call him morbidly obese, but he's been obese for decades. And he doesn't seem to take care of his health like the way he eats. He doesn't seem to eat well, doesn't seem to care about his health. And so my guess is that unavoidable. If that's happening already, I don't know, but that's something that's in his family. It's in his heritage. His mother also had really bad osteoporosis, which ended her life eventually. So there's just like these comorbidities that he has, that are really unavoidable. And when we hear about MRIs and things like that, that's what it makes me think. You know, he's almost 80 years old.
Hmm.
That likely these things are popping up, and you can't, at this point, you can't stop them.
No,
Yeah, it's such a great point.
yeah, this is again just anecdote, but my father's from New York. He just turned 81, and everything about Trump reminds me of my father. Well, I shouldn't say everything. He was not as bad. He's not as bad as
Right.
Trump. But
Right.
he's from New York. He's this big yelly guy. He's a huge Trump supporter, and he has dementia. He lives in memory care now. Also didn't take care of himself, morbidly obese, and there are times when Trump the picture of Trump when Zoran Mandami came to the White House and he's
Right.
looking up at him from the
Like a
chair.
child.
Hmm.
He like that's my dad looking at his
Yeah.
caregiver. Like I can't even explain the visual association. And I was like, I've never been so sure that he has early stage dementia. I also
Right.
used to work with dementia patients. Is that image and the look in his face that
Right.
if you can say one thing about him, he's not clever. He doesn't hide his
No.
emotions. And
Well,
that
and then
that
like,
like look of helpless adder because my dad was always very racist, but dementia has pulled that back for him, and now he just loves his caregivers, all of whom are Black and are immigrants. And
yeah.
that part of his brain is gone. It's just that simple adoration, and it's so there in his face when he looks at him.
Right.
It's very strange.
Well,
I
and
also sorry, you go
go
first,
ahead.
and
Go
I
ahead.
do want I have a comment here I want to read, but you go
Well, I
first.
was just gonna say, like, in that, you know, he's made several major announcements this past week,
Mhm.
which have been just so silly. But that first one that was like a speed reading, you know, where he just went through all his like talking points from the beginning
Yes.
of his first presidency, that was a red flag for me because he didn't riff, and he's known for riffing, and like
Hmm.
Yeah.
he has
He didn't
not,
do the weave.
he hasn't been weaving, and it takes a little bit of functionality, mental functionality, in
Yep.
order to be able to weave, and he's not weaving anymore, which is a big red flag for me on his health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what he was talking about Melania's underwear drawer, like I didn't watch, but I read something about
Yeah,
that.
no.
And we're like, well, at least he's
I
not.
can't watch anymore. Like
Yeah.
I've hit the
Yeah.
point where his voice, his face,
Mm.
like live video of him, if I
Triggering.
see it on TV, I literally have to turn. I can't watch it. He absolutely
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
Yeah. It's so triggering. Yeah, I can't either. So thank you for those of you who watch and report back. Clicking back a couple, there's a comment here from Casey of Donald apparently impregnated a 13-year-old and her baby was murdered by her uncle and Donald knew or paid for it. Again, this is
That
coming from the chat, not the files directly, but I've also heard about this, that there's something in this latest drop that's implicating
I
him.
believe that
for-
sounds like the piece that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, there. I'm not sure if this is the same one, but I did see a post yesterday that was like the anti-choice people are being very quiet today because there is something in this drop about how he covered up an abortion that
Yeah.
one of the girls
Well, I
he
mean,
impregnated had.
let's be objective
They
about
called it
this.
a late stage abortion where they murdered the baby, actually.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even if you want to be like very basic about abortion, let's pretend that Donald Trump has never paid for an abortion for anyone.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh, right.
you have to
Exactly.
live in a cave.
Right. Right. I'm sure Donald Trump uses condoms, right?
Right.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure he does. Well, and it's kind of funny because it goes back to like the idea of Jeffrey Epstein wanting to like have his own Planned Parenthood office. Did you see that? Like in the last dump,
No.
he wanted
What?
to he wanted to finance his own office in the Planned Parenthood building. So like, and he made it look like he was being philanthropic, but like it was literally having his own like abortion clinic, which
Oh
I
my
thought, well, you know,
God. Are you kidding?
like,
Wait,
no.
where was this in one of the recent
This
drops,
was in,
Ellie?
yeah, it was in one of the recent drops. I'll have to go back and look, but like he literally, there's a letter of him trying to lease space in the Planned Parenthood office, and I just thought
Lisa
that I was like,
Chair. He wanted
I
to lease
don't,
space.
He wanted to lease space and like have his I don't know if he wanted like his own
No,
abortion. I was like, he just wants to be more efficient for his,
no,
sex trafficking
Uh,
business,
oh my
just
God.
awful, really, really awful stuff.
no, 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 no. Ellie, here's a question for you, because part of our show these last few days was like we're gonna bring on some of our favorite, I don't want to say favorites. We've loved all our guests, but like the folks who have really grown
Mhm.
with us this year, and people who we want to touch base with about like what was 2025 like and what's 2026 going to look like. Do you have plans to try to like have you pitched this to some of the major news sources? Because as much as the legacy media is failing us, they
Mhm.
still have more eyes and ears than we Substack independent journalists have. And like people need to know this. You are one of
Right.
the people who probably knows the most about the Epstein files of anyone, like literally in the world. You're the one
Oh dear.
spelunking into these files. And all of us on Substack know you are a treasure, but the world
Thank
should
you.
know this. Like, do you have plans to try to, have you
I
tried?
mean, it's just such a weird it's a weird dichotomy. I've spent the
Yeah.
last, I've spent since 2015 contracting as a contractor for the New York Times. Like I've worked with legacy media as an independent
Yeah.
small business,
Yeah.
transcribing interviews and that kind of thing for a long time. The LA Times, like a lot of the I feel like I did one with the Wire. Like there's just been a lot of different random places over the years. Um, Despite all that, I can't get anything published in them. I have the closest I've gotten was one oh it was that article I wrote about being 42 and still living paycheck to paycheck. Like that was the
Yes.
closest I've gotten. Somebody liked it and then eventually it got rejected. I spent a long time trying to publish in legacy media and just really they didn't want anything that was controversial or really just uncomfortable at all. They just wanted like really happy,
Hmm.
unopinionated,
Yeah.
nobody cared. Jeff Bezos style opinion reporting, right? Um, and so now I kind of just don't care, right? And like I assume that eventually if like we keep going in this direction, maybe something I write will be seen by somebody because it was posted somewhere or enough people saw it or whatever that somebody might say, hey, can we publish this in the Huffington Post or whatever. I don't know. That could happen, but I'm not gonna try for that. Like I'm not gonna like pitch things to them anymore because I honestly think that more people read stuff and get their information here now than they do in those places.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy reporting here because I think it gets the right eyes and it gets really good people and gets really good like big great people. Like I was Lawrence, last night you guys had Katie Fang on and just the different style in her reporting now that she's on Substack. Like I
Yep.
love it so much. And I checked in with her afterwards. I was like, that was amazing. Thank you for doing that. That was really great. And she writes back, like these people
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
back now. They're not like stuck behind all this gatekeeping anymore.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Speaking on the
Thank
Um
truth again, Dana.
Yeah. Speaking on the truth.
Katie
you
Fang is
know,
awesome, and she's
yes,
liberated by no
she
longer
is.
being on Ms. Now or whatever the hell it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, it's potentially things could get picked up, but I feel like that whole system of doing things with places like CNN and the New York Times is shifting to where they're not necessarily the big and greatest place to be anymore. I think there's some really cool articles that come out of some of those places, but it for me personally it's not my goal now to have to be published there to have any kind of accountability. I would still
Right.
very much like to have a story published in the like New Yorker. That's sort of my Mount Everest, but other than that, um I'm not really pushing for that anymore. I'm just going to keep writing and sending it places and if people see it they see it, and that's all I want right now. I think that's better
Yeah.
for me.
I completely agree. And I think Lawrence and I have been saying this for a long time, and I'm starting to hear this. It's like almost like a mantra of like, this is media now. This is the
Right.
Yeah, for
future of
sure.
media
Right.
where we are, and particularly as we keep losing network and publication after network and publication. They're like
Hmm.
I mean, CBS just it's gone now. Like I will never
Right.
Right.
Never, like, well, not, maybe not
Right.
never, but not in its current incarnation will I reference what's there because you can't trust it. And we are in this developmental year where, right, we have access
Mhm.
to like Katie Fang. Because there's this equalizing factor that
Right.
Substack both has people coming in from the top to bring their
Mhm.
life's work there, and like a groundswelling of independent journalists like us who are
Right. Folks
growing
like
our
us who
voices.
are, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I would love to hear your predictions for 2026. What's going to happen here on Substack or out in the
On
world?
Substack.
Can I
I
say one
think.
thing really quick?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I just wanted to acknowledge, Ellie, you've obviously got a huge following, right? Like we've got 714 people on this chat, which is really big for us. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here. If you could also subscribe to Gen Xy, we would really appreciate
Yes,
it
please
if it's your
do.
first time here. But yeah, Ellie, I think, part of what you're embodying for a lot of us is this ability to build an audience on your own, and the quality of your work, I think, and your personability is part of the reason that you've got such a
Mhm.
big fan club. I hope you don't go to, I mean, I hope that when the
Right. I'm
opportunity
not
comes to
selling
you,
out.
because it will come to you,
Right.
it absolutely will,
Okay.
and you deserve
Right.
it. But I just want, speaking now from a place of love, I want you to remember that you've got such a huge support network here
Mhm.
that you should do it on your own terms. If they're
Right.
not giving
Right.
you the fucking world, don't take it,
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I would be very wary of something like that. And that was my situation because I've written 2 books, and I was in the position where I had to take anything somebody gave me, if they offered me anything at all,
Hmm.
because I had no credibility, and it just didn't go very well for me trying to publish those 2 books. And so I came to Substack, and my original goal was like, well, why don't I just build up an audience to where maybe some magical day in the future I can make the decisions, and when people come to me I can say, yeah, but I don't want that, I want it to look like this, or this is how I would like this to go, and have just a little bit more control over my own creations. And so yeah, it would I you know I'm of a lot of minds about growing. I was raised to be humble. I was raised to say please and thank you. When people give me a paid sub, I try every single time to hop in their DMs and say thank you for the paid sub. I try to interact with people. It does sometimes get difficult. Like sometimes if I'm off my phone for a while, I come home, I'm a little overwhelmed by the notifications. So I
Right.
try. But I always, like, since I was a little kid, I've always had this fear of like ultimate success and how that changes you on a human level. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
hypothetically, like how would I deal with success if it ever came to me financially or otherwise? So I've really been, fantastically planning for it, like it's ever going to happen. What would I do? Who would I take care of? How would I treat people? What statements would I make? Who would I stand up for? And like since I was little, this has just been my plan. Should this ever happen? Because I know people who have gotten very successful in a short period of time, and it changed them. And I didn't understand why change as a human being because you benefited somewhere. I don't understand that. And this is like very far reaching for what we're dealing with right now. But I just think about those things, and I try to be open to everybody who comes to me and listen to them and give them the time of day, because there was a lot of times when I wasn't given the time of day, when I had something to
Right.
say, and people just, the ghosting is really hard. Um and so I hypothetically, potentially in the future, if this continues to go at the rate it's going, I would like to be able to give back. Like there's my dream is, my grandmother's small town has no money, and I grew up there, and I was raised at the pool, and everything's falling apart. I would love to buy them a swimming pool. That's like my ultimate goal, is to buy them a swimming pool for the whole town. So like that, you just have little
That's
things in my head
that's
like
so
that that
amazing.
Oh my God,
are like
that is the sweetest goal ever.
they have 7 months of winter, and I want to give them an indoor swimming pool so that they can swim all year long, because they don't have activities for kids in town. It's very small. And so that's like my ultimate goal. If I could do anything in my life, I would buy them a pool. But like it's just little things like that, like planning ahead, that if you could ever do something, if something worked out for you, how to remember to be yourself and to not lose that footing, and to not get sucked into the, Kardashian of it all, right? Like maintain maintain your humanity. Don't pull a Jeff Bezos. Like all these people where you can look at them over a 30-year period and be like, wow, that's not the same person. Like don't do that. Like don't change your politics because you're rich all of a sudden. Like don't always find the things that benefit yourself that like trample everybody in your path. Like these are the things that I think about, and it's extremely hypothetical, but it's something that's very, very important to me because I was taught generosity by my family.
Right.
I was taught a lot of humility, and how to like take care of the people around you first, right? Don't put on your own oxygen mask first. That is only for airplanes. Like take care of the people around you. Yeah, so that's my goal. But again, it's like a very magical hypothetical pie in the sky, but that's what I think about.
Oh my God, the chat is blowing up right now, Ellie. When we come back at the end of 2026 and you're like in your hookers and blow era, we should be like, Ellie, we got it all.
I've had my breast implants. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah, no, everyone is just blowing up.
I'm Ellie Leonard reporting.
I cut and paste this quote because I love this. And now I can't remember who said it because it came by so quickly. I cut and paste it. Ellie, you are relentless and relentlessly meticulous in your muckraking. You are the closest thing we have right now to blind justice. And I put a link in the chat, and I'm going to do it again where you can, if you have the means to be a paid subscriber, that's where you can go support Ellie's work.
Yes.
And people have been phenomenal. Can I just say that people have been phenomenal lately? Like I am so grateful. Slightly overwhelmed. Like here's the thing, and this is also about like keeping your feet on the ground and not floating away. Like for me, I get anxious when things are successful too. Like you get anxious when nothing's going on, nobody's signing up, your Substack feels a little silent. When it goes nuts, I get more anxious than I do when nothing's happening at all. But it's a good anxious. But like people have been so extremely generous. Somebody hopped on from Canada and bought, let me just say, the giant, biggest cup of coffee that I'll ever drink in my life because I have a coffee fund.
Nice.
Like,
yes, people are asking about your coffee fund right now. I'm looking for a link.
Oh my gosh. I'll post my coffee fund after this. I'll just put it on my, or I can send it to you. But like, but like somebody just, I mean, people have just been so wildly over the top generous that I'm just like, make sure your families are fed, guys. Like it's Christmas. Like make sure that everybody has enough to eat. Like because I know that there have been people who've been paid subs for a little bit and then they had to back off, or like they they were like, I can't really afford this, but you're my one paid sub. And I'm like, but you don't have to afford it. Please don't like do it if you can't afford it. Like it's not a big deal, guys.
You don't paywall anything, do you, Ellie?
No, nothing.
Right. And so I think that's such a huge marker of your character, right? Like, I understand why certain content gets paywalled on some accounts, but like the accounts out there that paywall everything, I'm like, girl, you're not that important, like you're not so important that everything.
Why would somebody pay for your Substack if they are not able to read it first too, right? Like people are generous because they like the work that you're doing, or that they want to read more, and they want to encourage you to have more time to do it, so they get to read. I mean, it benefits them because they get to read more if you get to write more. And I just don't, I don't, and I feel bad because some people have gotten founding memberships, and I'm like, I don't really have more to offer you because you paid more, and I'm really sorry, because I just give everybody everything. But I'm really, really grateful for that. And I just hope that people feel that they get value out of their subscriptions. And now I have more time. I'm going to become really incessant, by the way.
Good.
Watch out.
We love it. We want it. Please.
We can't wait for that. And nothing drives me crazy. Nothing makes me bounce out of a live faster if I get there and only paid subscribers can comment.
Right.
Like we see our chat as such a part of this conversation. We cannot wait until Substack captures the chat so that when you watch a recap, you can watch the comments.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
So many insightful comments that come by. Lawrence and I try to read them, but like, especially in a chat of this size, we just can't capture all of them. The idea of it being like, you have to pay if you want to even have an opinion.
I know. I won't want, if I log on to somebody and it says paid only for the chat, I usually won't watch it. Like I'll do it to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think people know that I work at Blue Amp as well, and so does Dana and Ellie. You joined us as a contributing editor. And you know, Cliff had kind of turned the paid on for chat early when he was setting it up, and kind of didn't realize that it was still on. And I was like, bro, we really got to turn this off because it's a
Bro.
turn off, right? Like,
It is, yeah.
and it's been so great to like, you know, actually watch the amped up shows after that's been turned off, because people love to participate and comment.
Yeah,
So
it's more fun. Like, people listen
way
better
more
when
fun.
they get a way in. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ellie, we're over, but Dana had asked a question. I interrupted. She asked you
Oh
about
yeah,
your
go ahead.
predictions for 2026. So give us one or two before we go.
Okay, I think Donald Trump is either going to die or get impeached, because I think the election will go well. I think we will be able to have a 2/3 Senate majority for an impeachment, which will get him out of office. That is the first thing.
Hold on, I'm getting jingle bell for that. I have a jingle bell sweater on. I haven't
I think
used
it's going to be
it
a
yet.
great year. I mean, we may have to come back and see how well this aged, but I think that that's what's going to happen. For me, something I would really love to do is I'd love to do like writing with people. So like I write an article with other people. I've had people like Maritza Giorgio from the Grounded podcast. If people have not watched that one, she's from my hometown in Missoula. She has a podcast with John Tester. They're fantastic. I'd love to write something with her. I'd love to write something with like Kate Justice. I'd love to write something with like a whole bunch of people and start like doing like combo pieces. I think that would be really super fun.
Awesome.
And then I'm potentially, I don't know how to do this. I would like to write a third book, and I've had it in my head for a long time. I just have to figure out how and when and why and, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm seeing something from the chat that I've heard about this. I don't know about it. I'm not necessarily asking you, Ellie, but Casey is saying, holy shit, go to YouTube and watch Lev Parnas's video from last night. The Midas brothers and Michael Cohen crossed him big and he's livid. I've heard that there's like a Substack throwdown happening between certain people.
Okay. Do you want my opinions on this?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't watched last night's. I popped on, so Lev and Zev and like a bunch of people invited me to just pop on when Donald Trump did his like wild, crazy, 21-minute rant, to just do like a rundown of what, just kind of like a panel. Yeah. And I hopped on there, and then Michael Cohen hopped on there, which I've never been in a live with Michael Cohen before. I have with Lev.
Me neither,
Lev and
right dropped when I saw that, Ellie.
I was like, oh hey. Lev, I really like Lev. He's kind of like a grandpa. I'm getting to know him better. I really enjoy speaking with him. I have to say, I was very hesitant about trusting any of these people who used to be on the legal teams for Trump, because I didn't know if they switched sides because they got caught, kind of a thing. Like, would you have come to the light if you hadn't been caught, kind of thing. So it's taken me a minute with Lev, but I think he has very good intentions and he's very kind, and and he's funny. He's like grandpa. He's fun to talk to. But I also wanted to give space for Michael Cohen, because I've had, my opinions about Michael Cohen. But I also wanted to give him the same opportunity that I'm giving Lev, because I had never talked to him before, but I was in the chat of one of his like lives months and months ago, and I was talking about the fact, I wasn't even talking about it. I had just written a piece about how during the Ghislaine Maxwell proffer with Todd Blanche, they had she had named a Jane Doe, and I was just like, what do we do about that? I was like we have to do something about this. Like, she's naming Jane Does and they're not redacting their names. Like, that's a huge violation. And so I popped in the chat. I didn't say anything, but people started talking about that in the chat, and he flipped out. Like, he got really defensive. He got really upset. He's like, I don't know who this Ellie person is. I got what it made me think from what he was saying is he thought I meant Katie Johnson. And that was the first time I saw him get really defensive about the Katie Johnson case, which is the case that included Epstein and Donald Trump and the 13-year-old girl. And I was like, that's weird, because that's not what I was talking about. But like,
so this is Michael Cohen. As you're on the live with him, he's getting really mad at you.
Well, this is not even me. I'm in the chat. Like, I've never met the guy. I'm in the chat. I just showed up. My name showed up, and people started talking about this thing that I had mentioned. And he starts talking about it on his live, getting very defensive, thinking it's Katie Johnson. And I was like, that's weird. That's not even what I was talking about.
Mm.
And then there was just this long period of time where I was just like, huh, hopefully he's forgotten about me, like, whatever. And then I got on this panel, I think it was last Thursday, and Michael Cohen's in there, and he starts going, Ellie, I like your name, Ellie, Ellie. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then
Weird. It's not an unusual name.
I know,
Right.
it's like whatever. And then the Katie Johnson thing came up, and I have to say, Zev really pushed him. He did a good job. He pushed him. I was incredibly uncomfortable. I've gotten lots of funny messages about my body language in that live. Like, I was just like, it's like being in a room with your parents when they're arguing. Like, you're just like, ah. I'm
Oh
not
my
great at
God.
confrontation. I am not built. That side of journalism is not built into me. But Michael Cohen started going off about the Katie Johnson thing and how he was not involved. He'd never heard of Jeffrey Epstein in his entire time working with Donald Trump. He'd never heard that name one time. And just like all this stuff where you're just like, oh, that doesn't feel true. That does not feel true. And I just got off there and I had to just like sit there. I went and talked to my husband. I'm like, I have to go to bed, but I'm also like full of adrenaline right now. I don't know what just happened.
Wow.
And I talked to Zev for a little bit afterwards, and I was just like, what just happened? But it felt very dishonest. I mean, putting it nicely, it felt incredibly dishonest. And he didn't convince me that he's moved on or changed or working towards the good. It felt like he was really trying to like clean up and protect himself. And I didn't walk away from that conversation feeling very confident in him. And so I haven't heard the one from last night. I will definitely listen to that.
I
Right.
will
Now
listen
I-
to that
now
one
I'm
too.
guessing that is the sequel to the first conversation we had last week.
Oh my gosh. Did you not, so you joined this live thinking like, oh, I'm going on, because I know you're on with Lev
Right.
and Zeb a lot. And you
Yeah.
think you're doing that, and then there's Michael Cohen, and you're like,
Yeah.
hi? I feel like you need to have like a warning before you get on a live
Right.
with someone
I was
controversial.
like, hey, well, yeah, I mean, and I think in the last probably couple weeks, I've been speaking with Waj more in the last couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
like some bigger people that I hadn't been talking to in the past. And so when he popped up, I was like, okay, so we're just gonna do that. But I just like I said, so many DMs about my body language in that video, and I have to laugh
Oh
at
my-
myself because like I was not covering for anything. I was just so uncomfortable, but I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was there for it, but I'm also recognize my skill level and what is not my skill level, and that was not my skill level.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's your authenticity that brings people to you.
Yeah.
There's a comment I pulled from the chat, and forgive my ignorance here. Is MTN Midas Touch Network? Is that okay? I thought so, but didn't know the acronym. So this came from Jeanette, and it looks like it's a quote from MTN. Hi, Jeanette. I saw your comment. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to get into details, but Lev appears to be going through some personal issues, and unfortunately, he's taking it out on his son and us because his son works with us. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but I genuinely hope he gets the support he needs. I don't even know the
I don't
situation,
know what
but
that-
that's so condescending.
Yeah.
Is that-
There's been a lot of infighting. Have you noticed that lately? Like there's been a lot of
just in the
infighting
last
as
few
people
days.
have
I was
as
just
people
gonna
have
say,
gotten bigger, they've started to like trample the people in their path in order to get bigger. And I don't like that. I just think that like
No.
it works so well when people all work together and like
Yeah.
contribute and like work, because we all have lots of information. If you put it in the same place and work together, it makes a really great team. But I think a lot of people want to do it by themselves and they're kind of trampling, and I don't know why that is.
I mean, yeah, I think it's ego, right? Like people really get into their ego about stuff like this. And, you know, you've spent a lot of time, you know, you were talking about, you spent a lot of time as a kid thinking about what you would do if you, you know, got big in some way. And I think maybe people haven't done that. They haven't held true to their values. And so, you know, I've at this point in my life, I am never surprised when grown men start acting like a bunch of, you know, like we're in a middle school lunchroom and it's cliques and it's gossip and it's if you like Becky, then you can't like me because Becky is total, you know, like
right?
Women do it too. Speaking as someone who just actually worked in a school, like women do it too.
Right. Like none of us have apparently, or many of us, even in adulthood, have not left behind the the cliques and the backstabbing of
Yes.
middle school.
It is so hard.
Yeah.
And a goal of our our show here, the Daily Whatever Show, is like we all rising boats or rising tides lift all boats. Like this
Right,
is it's
right.
We've said it
very
for a
unless
long
you
time.
can. Yes,
Yeah.
we've been saying this all year, and it
What?
will continue. And like unless you're being an idiot, like we will block anyone
Right.
who comes in with bad intent.
Right. And I've seen a lot of like new people to Substack lately who are phenomenally intelligent and are like, and Kate Justice is one of those so good at doing her homework, so detailed. And I'm just like,
Just followed
your
recommendation.
you need more people to see what you're writing because this is insane. Like this is insanely detailed. And so when I see someone like that, I want them to do well. I want people to read because I'm using that for my research, right? Like and people did that for me too. So it's like I don't see why we can't work together and like be functional and be the news. Like this is the news now. Like people shouldn't be competing. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Right. I'm going to reach out to Kate and see if she wants to come on the show
Yeah,
in
she's
early
great.
2026 because I want to meet her. And also like, right. And I do a lot of our booking, and anytime I just see someone who's doing something interesting, I'm like, hey, can you please come on? We want to have a conversation with you, and we want to help elevate the work you're doing because we're not competing with people on Substack. We're trying to establish a new and fair media
and if everybody
cultural and political conversation, right?
And everybody gets on, they go, it's about the survivors. It's about the survivors. Well, okay, then do that. Like, do that. Don't compete with each other, because if you're competing with each other, it's about money and it's about status and it's about ego. Like, it's not about survivors if you're competing. If you want it to be about like actually helping people, then you got to let go of that baggage and just do good work and lift up the people who do good work and like end this case. This case needs to have an end, and that's simple.
Yes.
Right. And and it's about what's happening in our society overall right now, right? It's, late stage capitalism is not working for people, like any people except the micro 1%, and American democracy is not working right now. And we have to change all of this. Like we have to process the trauma that we all grew up with and that kind of is built into this nation's DNA and change things radically and fundamentally so that we can have a society where rising tide lifts all boats and it's not a zero-sum game. Like we've got to get beyond this. And if we can't model this in like, building our own Substacks, then how the fuck are we going to do it as a society writ large,
Right. Agreed. 100%.
Ellie, we've kept you so much longer than we promised we would. And it's Christmas Eve and you've got a family full of kids that you need to entertain.
Yes.
Christmas Eve.
And we're on a railroad schedule, so we're doing all our gift giving on weird timing because my husband works for the railroad and they don't care about Christmas. So we're working around.
Run on time.
Right.
Let's end on a happy note.
Sure.
Actually, I'm going to say a couple things before we go, because we have so many people on the chat. We will be off tomorrow for Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everyone. But Friday, we are hosting what we call Fucked Up Friday. It's a news broadcast where we compete with a guest to see who can bring in the most fucked up news of the week. And we have Kazem Rashid coming in. That will be our final episode of 2025. We can't believe it. He's going to be here, two Jews and a Muslim discussing Christmas.
Awesome.
And all the fucked up news of the week. It's going to be amazing. And then our first Fucked Up Friday of 2026 is going to be Zev Shalev. He's going to be here on the, I can't remember what day. Oh, it's the 9th. It's the day after my daughter's birthday. So really excited to bring him in because we have not met him yet, nor have we met Levin and Levin.
I know.
I can't keep them apart.
Zev Shalev. It's like Dr. Seuss. Whenever I say Zev and Zev and Lev, Zev Shalev and Lev, it's like a Dr. Seuss book.
We should totally make up rhymes with their names.
Right.
So we would love for you all to come back. It's going to be great. These are going to be great episodes. This community here, like the chat today, has just been off the charts. It's been awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool. Very cool, guys.
Let's end on a happy note. What's your favorite one Christmas tradition that you and your family do? Something little and silly and fun.
so a couple of things. We do Christmas Eve gifts. We've always done Christmas Eve gifts, and then we usually, because there's board games involved somewhere inevitably on Christmas Eve, and then we'll sit and watch a movie or just, candles and cider and playing board games. But our big special thing that we do is New Year's Eve. We do a big finger food feast, and it's like our most
Ooh.
expensive dinner of the year, but like the kids all get to pick the foods that they want. They want like bacon wrapped shrimp and like all these things with toothpicks in
Ooh.
them. And like, that's so
Oh my
exciting. And then we watch Wicked and eat a lot of cheese and meat and little pieces of fruit. And it's very fun.
That sounds
I-
amazing. What
I
time
love
should I be there?
Yes, right. Well, midnight. So
Nice. Okay, perfect. I'll see you then.
All right, that's good,
That's
guys.
such a brilliant idea. Everything
Yeah.
finger food. I love it.
Yeah, and we just line it up on the counter and everybody, paper plates gets to pick the stuff that they want, and it's really fun.
Oh my God. Lawrence, what's yours? What's your one, like, one thing that you have to make at the holidays? Do you have one?
Oh my God. I mean, it's honestly changed so much over the years. Like you know this, Dana, my big thing for New Year's Day is I have
Yes.
to have black-eyed peas and collard
Yes.
greens and cornbread. If I don't have black-eyed peas and
You're
collard greens and
fucked.
cornbread for
Yeah.
New Year's Day, it is not it's just not real.
Right. Then the year is just fucked.
Yeah.
Like, did you not have them for 2025? I'm just wondering.
You would think, right? I did actually. I made all of them for 2025 really, really good. Like perfected my recipes even further for black-eyed peas and collard greens. But yeah, you would think, you would think that I did not.
Oh my God.
How about you,
Well,
Dana?
There's lots, but my one little thing is that I have to watch Elf on Christmas.
Oh yeah, for
Mm.
sure. We've watched it like 6 times already.
Yeah, I save it and I watch it on Christmas after my kids. It's always Christmas Eve at their dad's, and it's
Mhm.
Chinese food because I'm Jewish. That's my Jewish
Yeah.
heritage. And then Christmas morning they come back here and all the like I go home Christmas Eve and I get the whole house set up,
Oh.
all the presents under the tree and all that. They come over, they open their presents, and then sometime during, I'm like, I'm not doing any work, y'all. I have to sit on the couch and watch Elf. That's
Sounds
part of
good.
it.
Sounds good.
And this is a new tradition. I finally own a Christmas sweater, so I have to do a little like it's skulls and it's jingle
Love
bells,
it.
and I got it at a
Love
thrift
it.
shop in my neighborhood. And
Very good.
But it's very warm. I'm very warm right now, you guys.
Oh well.
Acrylic.
It's good.
It's
Oh, yeah,
acrylic.
I'm sure.
All right.
Oh my gosh, we crossed 900 folks in the chat.
Yeah.
This
Thanks
is
everyone for being
Yay!
here.
Thanks,
Please give us a
guys.
subscribe
Happy
and follow here at
holidays.
Gen XE. Happy holidays, Ellie. Thank you
Happy
so much for your amazing
holidays.
work.
Happy holidays,
Go
guys.
subscribe to Ellie. We love you.
We love
Love
you.
you,
Mean it,
bye.
everybody. Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.